Hi guys, welcome to practice. This is the second video in my series following the practices in my book 100 Mindfulness Meditations. So even though it's the second video, we're actually still on practice one, which is about basic posture. The first video is about how to sit on a chair, but now I want to talk about how to sit on a cushion so that we can set ourselves up for a comfortable mindfulness practice. So the first thing to say is that sitting cross-legged on the floor, even on a cushion like this one, isn't that comfortable for most people. And the reason for that is we're usually not that flexible in the Western world, and so lower back problems, upper back problems, all sorts of things, hip issues and so on, can come up really easily here. It's also quite difficult not to lean back or to lean forward and try and keep ourselves propped up in various ways in this position. So the main aim when we're thinking about how to sit is to raise up the bum so that the pelvis actually tips forward a bit, so we've got a nice angle down to the knees. You may not be able to see this clearly at the moment, but if you think about my hips are down here, my knees are higher up than my hips at the moment. That's going to be uncomfortable if I sit in this position for a long period of time. The traditional postures that people talk about and look at within mindfulness practice and meditation generally. So you've got this kind of traditional cross-legged practice that I'm doing here. We can also do the half lotus, or if you're flexible enough to get the other foot over here, which I'm not, you can do the full lotus. Or there's a position called Burmese, which I'm actually going to demonstrate by raising myself up a bit with this bolster. So this is just a regular bolster which I'm going to use behind me to sit on, and you can see already that's much more comfortable. So I've raised up the pelvis and I can immediately go into my regular position, which is the Burmese position, which is actually quite an easy position to get into and quite comfortable. So you'll see that the soles of my feet are both pointing upwards so I can see them. And my legs are going out diagonally as usual, but instead of crossing the legs and creating a point of contact, which will produce tension and friction as I'm sitting there for a long period of time, this is actually a very nice position to sit in. So maybe give that one a go. Once we get into this position, we want to make sure, are you high enough? So some people will start with this and they'll maybe have bought a Zafu, a meditation cushion like this, and they'll sit on it and they're like, oh, I still feel quite uncomfortable in my practice. So is it high enough? It can be as high as you like. It's not a competition. So for some people, they'll be sitting on several cushions. Sometimes when I teach on courses, we use these meditation blocks. Some people are sitting on 6 or 8 blocks. Yeah, so they've still got that point of contact with the floor, but behind them, they've got these blocks going up this way. The other way that we can sit using bolsters is we can sit on it this way. So you can actually straddle it, so you've got the bend in the knees here, you've got the soles of the feet pointing up, you can't see them, maybe you can just here behind me. So this is also quite a comfortable position. And again, don't forget, if you need to raise it up, just pop something in between and you're going to raise yourself up even higher and it'll be more comfortable. The aim with all of this is to be able to get to the point where the legs are comfortable. You can imagine sitting there for a considerable period of time, but the spine is tall and feels alert, so it doesn't feel like you're pitching forward, doesn't feel like you need to prop yourself up in order to push yourself back, but you can actually feel nice and calm and grounded in this position. So for me, the best one for me is to go back into my usual posture, which I teach in and practice in, which is this one. The other thing we have to think about, which we thought about when we were sitting on a chair, is what to do with our hands here. So for me, there's not much to rest my hands on if I'm in this position. So what I like to do, particularly if I'm going to be meditating for a long time, is I put big cushion here and another cushion on top of it, and then I rest my hands here. So this is enabling me to not have the full weight of my arms pulling down on my body as I'm sitting, and that for me produces a point of tightness and tension in the back. So think about, what do I need to be comfortable in my practice? It's hard enough to show up and turn up for mindfulness practice without sitting there and feeling uncomfortable and in pain. There are, of course, practices where we go into pain and we look at it and we be with it in different ways, and we look at acceptance and we look at all sorts of things with pain. But in our practice, it's good to try and find what's my home base for me so that I feel comfortable for my practice and give myself the best shot of awareness dropping in today. So I hope that was helpful. Do let me know if it was. And I look forward to seeing you for practice 2 next week. Thanks very much for following.